All right, let's get right into it. Something really interesting is happening in India's tech space right now. We're watching two huge shifts play out. First, in the super competitive electric scooter market, a quiet contender just pulled off a massive shock. And second, at the very heart of the economy, digital payments are about to become, well, basically invisible. So let's break it all down. Just 6 months ago, this whole race looked completely different. Ola Electric was the absolute king of the hill, with a huge 18% market share lead over its rival, Ather Energy. But just look at this chart. It's a total flip. Last month, Ather didn't just catch up, it sold over 18,000 scooters, blowing right past Ola's 12,000. I mean, what an incredible turnaround. It's pushed Ather straight into India's top 3 EV makers. So that just makes you wonder, right? In a country where we're always told that price is everything, how on earth did a premium brand, one that never even tried to be the cheapest, pull off an upset this big? The answer tells us a lot about a powerful new trend. Yeah, Ather's success wasn't some overnight fluke or lucky break. It was the result of a long, very deliberate, and honestly, a pretty risky gamble, a bet on the power of premium quality. And that bet is now paying off big time. And just listen to this from their CEO. That is pure confidence. From day one, they basically drew a line in the sand and said, we're not doing cheap scooters. In a market that was just flooded with budget options, they declared they were playing a totally different game. And this really lays out the two different playbooks here. While competitors like Ola, TVS, and Bajaj were in a race to the bottom on price, just chasing volume at any cost, Ather was obsessed with something else entirely. They were focused on engineering, on building the best software, and on top-notch service. For a while, it really looked like they might lose the race. But then, everything changed. The game changer was this right here, the Ather Rista. This scooter was a total masterstroke. It was designed for the Indian family, larger, safer, more practical. But it was still an Ather through and through. It had the smart software, the solid performance, and absolutely no shortcuts on quality. And wow, did people love it. The Rista now makes up almost 60% of Ather's total sales. But here's the important part. It became the bridge that took them from just tech lovers in big cities to middle-class families in new markets like Maharashtra, Gujarat, and Rajasthan. It proved you could win over the mainstream without making a cheaper product. And here's the really smart part. Ather isn't just selling a product. They're building a whole defensive wall around their business. They're tripling their factory capacity, they're growing their retail stores like crazy, and they're building out their own charging network, the Ather Grid. This gives their riders a level of reliability that, frankly, their competitors just can't offer. And of course, the market has taken notice. This big bet on quality has really paid off. Ather's revenue jumped a staggering 79% year-on-year in the first quarter. And its stock price? It's more than doubled since the IPO. So this isn't just a win for one company. It's proof that a quality-first strategy can win, even in a market everyone thought only cared about price. Okay, so let's switch gears because that same theme of smarter, more intuitive tech is also shaking up another huge part of India's economy, digital payments. And the recent Global FinTech Fest in Mumbai gave us a wild glimpse into a future that is completely frictionless. Okay, let's start with the biggest news. UPI is going PIN-free. NPCI announced biometric authentication, which means you'll soon be able to okay payments with just your face or your fingerprint. Just think about what this means for so many people, for elderly users or for first-time smartphone owners who can't remember PINs. A simple touch or a glance is all it will take. It's faster, it's safer, and it's so much easier. And UPI isn't just getting easier to use at home, it's going global. In a huge move, PayPal is integrating UPI right into its platform. This means Indian users will be able to pay on international websites using UPI. I mean, you can't get a bigger stamp of approval than that. It's one of the world's biggest payment companies saying, yep, UPI is world-class. And it's not just the core system changing. Other players are jumping in to solve all those real-world headaches. Razorpay is tackling those frustrating OTP failures with a new Face ID system. Paytm's new AI Soundbox is basically an Alexa for shopkeepers that can answer questions in 11 different languages. And PhonePe is making life easier for small merchants by putting UPI, card tap, and swipe all into one single sleek device. But the really mind-bending stuff, the real future, is what's being called ambient finance. Imagine this. Your electric car automatically pays for its own charge the second you plug it in. Or your smart fridge just reorders milk when it knows you're running low. Payments just happen, silently, securely, in the background. This isn't science fiction anymore. This is the roadmap. All right, so stepping back from scooters and payments, the entire startup ecosystem is just buzzing right now, pushing into some incredibly ambitious new areas. Let's do a quick snapshot of the other major developments. We're seeing some huge international players making big moves. The global AI race is definitely heating up, with Anthropic, the makers of Claude AI, in talks with Reliance. At the same time, Google is pouring $10 billion into building Asia's largest data center cluster right here in India. But, it's not all smooth sailing. The shutdown of a fintech lender called Nero is a sharp reminder that the regulatory world can still be pretty tough for startups. And if you want to know where the smart money is going, just look at this week's funding rounds. It's incredibly diverse. Sure, a fintech platform, Dawn, just became a unicorn, but check out where the rest of the money is going. We've got a company using AI to create virtual copies of vocals to predict when they'll break down. Another one is creating AI chips that can literally change their function on the fly. And there's even a space tech startup that is 3D printing rocket engines. We are so far beyond just building apps now. This is a clear shift into really deep, complex tech. So when you connect all these dots, a premium scooter winning the market, payments becoming invisible, startups building actual rocket engines, a really clear and powerful picture starts to emerge about where India is headed. So let's just put it all together. First, Ather's success tells us that the Indian consumer is maturing. They're now choosing real value and quality over just the lowest price tag. Second, the future of money is shifting from something you do into an experience that just happens. And third, the most exciting innovation is moving away from just consumer apps and into the deep foundational tech that's going to power the next decade of growth. And all of this leaves us with one final fascinating question to think about. Are we witnessing a fundamental change in the Indian market's DNA? Is that long-held belief of cheapest is best finally giving way to a new mantra, value is best? Well, based on everything we're seeing, the answer seems to be a resounding yes.